Hey everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a new Bible journaling process video. I'm going to be in John 7 in my interleaved journaling Bible, just creatively jotting down some notes that I have in my journal here that I use during my quiet time. As I read through this devotional book, which is excellent, this is not the first video that I've made sharing an entry from that book or something that was thought-provoking from that book, so I hope you're not sick of it yet. So I've got my notes here, and then I have just some random supplies that I pulled. I'm going to be talking about water today and being refreshing, so I looked to my print and pray stash here and just pulled out some things that were accessible, like some journaling cards from Taylor, these prayer prints from Elaine, some patterned paper from Shauna Klingerman. I really love this section and I'm going to try and work this into my page today. Some greenery from Brianna, and then maybe this journaling spot from Mandy Ford. I can guarantee you I won't use all of it, but I wanted to have it to pull from. And then I have some washi tape here from my stash that I may or may not use. I kind of forget to use washi tape. I don't know if that happens to you guys. I have some leftover hearts. I'm thinking about playing around with these and the Dina Wakley gloss media sprays. I just got this turquoise color in the mail and it's my favorite. I had a feeling it would be. I'm so glad that it came back in stock. So that's a quick peek at what I'm going to be pulling from, and I may bring in some additional things like stamps. So let's go ahead and get started. On the back side of this page in John 7 is this entry that I did. So lots of cardstock layers. I don't expect any bleed through with the gloss sprays. I've used them a couple times before. No bleed through, just my naturally clumsy self where I get paint on the underside, like under the page I'm working on, and then it ends up on the back. So I'm going to try not to do that today. So I'm going to start by cutting out the elements that I know I want to use, including this prayer print and Shauna Klingerman's patterned paper. And so I just followed the shapes in this pattern. I think it's supposed to be water, and I just cut around the shapes contour lines, I guess. So I ended up cutting out four total, and I'll create like a little visual triangle on my page with 3 of them. 2 of them are going to kind of hang off of the edge of the page. And then inside I'll have my journaling and all that stuff. So I mentioned that I wanted to play around with the gloss sprays and these fabric hearts. I have these left over from the Wholehearted Devotional Kit from Illustrated Faith, and I wanted to see, since they're fabric, how well they took the gloss spray. The answer is very well. These were really fun. And so you can see here I'm using my tweezers just to kind of show you how the paint like absorbed into the fabric, and then I'm using my tweezers to help sop up some of the excess paint that's on my mat. This spray gets everywhere, by the way, so like don't craft in your Sunday best if you plan to use these, or if you do, wear an apron. I'm going to help speed up the drying process by using my heat tool because I wanted to see how I could layer these paints, and I love the effect that I got. So I started off with that turquoise turquoise and then I put that ocean color on top, and look here, then I sprayed the turquoise on top, and look at that beautiful like drip down the side of the heart. So now I have this really fun ombre heart. I wanted to try another technique here where I just like splattered some of the gloss spray onto one of the hearts, and I really like how this looked too. It dried really cool. So I'm going to end up using both of these on my page today. Again, I just used my heat tool to eliminate the wet paint situation on my desk because it gets everywhere. So now that I have an idea of where I want everything on my page to live, I'm going to use a couple of different colors here, and I just wanted splatters on my page, not like big sprays. So I pressed the nozzle button down super slow, and I was able to get these kind of drips on my page instead of a big splatter. And then I brought in this magenta color and added a teeny tiny bit of this onto my page also. In case I'm getting the colors wrong, I'm going to go ahead and list all of them in the video description below if you want to check them out. I want to make sure I tell you the correct ones that I'm using. There's a little like drop down arrow underneath this video, and that will expand that video description underneath the video and have all of that information in there for you. So about this page in John 7, when I journal, I kind of have the same rhythm every morning. I start off noting the date and the time, where I'm journaling, and then I list something that I'm grateful for first. And from there, I open up the YouVersion Bible app on my phone. That's normally what I use to read with. And I start off with just scripture, and I write down the verse of the day that's in YouVersion. And on this day, I got to that verse, and it was John 7:38. Whoever believes in me, as the scripture has said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. I read that verse and I was like, it's not what I want to write down in my journal today, so I'm going to pick something else, and I did that. And then in my devotional time, I get to the entry for this phrase or this idea, Mayim Hayim, which means living water flowing, which I kind of chuckled at. And I decided that I'm never going to change my mind again, and I'm going to jot down the verse of the day in my journal. Anyway, so I'll just read to you the notes that I took from my devotional here as I'm wrapping up my journaling and my title and stuff on this page here. In this book, Listening to the Language of the Bible, the author Lois Terberg writes, "In the Middle East, water is scarce and precious. Lush vegetation surrounds rivers and springs, while only yards away all is barren. From this arose the idea of Mayim Hayim, life-giving water of rain, rivers, and springs as a picture of God's Spirit in the world." She writes, "The ancient Jews found pictures of theological concepts in the world around them, and God used those pictures to communicate with them." And then later on she writes, "Interestingly, God said that when the Messiah comes, I will pour out water on the thirsty land and streams on the ground. I will pour out my Spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants." That's Isaiah 44:3. Jesus said that he was the fulfillment of these words about living water when he spoke to the Samaritan woman at the well in John 4, and when he spoke during the prayers for rain at the Sukkot feast in John 7:38, which is the verse that I'm journaling today and was originally pointed to in my quiet time for that day. So as I was thinking about this idea of God's Spirit in the world providing nourishment to its immediate surroundings, it made me think about the question, well, how refreshing am I? As a believer who is living in the world, what do the things around me that I influence look like? Are they lush with vegetation and life, or are they barren and dry and bitter? So that's something that I've just been thinking about and praying about over the last week or so. So that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys aren't sick of me talking about this devotional, but it really is good. I've got it linked down in the video description below. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.